Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm playing a 15 plus 10 game here on Chess against Worsham. He's 2105. I've gotten all the way up to 2123, which is not somewhere I've been regularly in, I don't know, probably about 6 months or a year or so. I'm not sure exactly. It looks like we have a Banco Gambit, which is good because I don't think I have a Banco Gambit game on my YouTube channel. I don't actually know much about the Gambit, but I know that people who play the Banco Gambit don't like it when you play b6 and just give them back the pawn, because they really want you to take, and then their knight and their bishop and their rook all get to recapture on a6 at the same time. And no, but I mean, all their queenside pieces get active if you take that pawn. So I prefer to just leave the pawn there, and then it's in front of all these pieces. And maybe the queen isn't ultra, it's not really killing it on b6, I don't feel like, but, not sure. This feels like a natural move. I want to play e4, so let's just defend that. I think this is about the end of my knowledge. That move makes a lot of sense. I assume e4 is the move. Looks very natural. Maybe the bishop could come to e3 one day and sort of question if the queen is so good on b6. Bishop e3, knight a4 could be some kind of thing. But I don't know that we need to do that right away. I mean, now, if we did that, the knight could come to g4 and harass us. So maybe just bishop e2 first, then try to get the bishop on this square. Something like that. I think h3 is probably also some idea. I know h3 is like kind of annoying for black in the Benoni, and this is, sort of a sub variant of the Benoni. Same pawn structure more or less. It is sort of a slow move, and I am already behind in development. I think I like this bishop e2 though. One thing I like to do in the Benoni is play bishop e2, and then try to do this maneuver. And I don't want to let them trade their light square bishop for my knight. I want them to trade their light square bishop for my light square bishop. So now if I play knight f3 and they play bishop g4, I can just move and get a trade in. Whereas in this position, if I had played knight f3 right away and they pin me, then they're going to be able to trade for that knight if they want. I really want this knight to go to c4. That's a beautiful looking square. So I think I'm going to put that plan into motion. And that's a plan that's in the, I mean, it's something I do in the Benoni, and it's working here in the Banco too. Like I said, Banco is basically just a sub variant of the Benoni. Now, I mean, thinking about this bishop again, assuming I still want to go to e3, which maybe I don't, but if I do, then I think it does make sense to complete this maneuver first. Because whenever I play bishop e3, knight g4 is the move that I have to think about. And, it seems like I can't go there right away because of knight g4, and he's just going to trade it off or make me move my bishop again or something. Or get the knight here kind of for free. Pardon me. So to stop knight g4, I would need knight d2 in, but then the bishop can't go there, so I would kind of have to do the whole shebang before getting the bishop to e3. Now, I'm not even sure that I want the bishop on e3, because this pawn isn't so tender anymore now that d6 has been played. But if I can get bishop e3, queen d2, and trade off the dark square bishops, that might be pretty reasonable. This piece is poised to be really strong for black. But I think first things first, let's just castle. I don't really see any reason to not do that. Black's probably going to try to play on the queen side somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. He's kind of got everything lined up over towards the queen side. And I guess thinking long term, he has this isolated A pawn, which could be a weakness. Otherwise, Black's position is pretty solid. I mean, we could maybe consider this E7 pawn a weakness, but it seems difficult to access. So I'm wondering if one day my plan is, you know, get the knight here, as I alluded to, could try to play F4 and either F5 or E5, open things up over there. If I'm going to be playing F4, I might need to play King H1 first, because there's some stuff to think about here. Not sure what Black's going to do. I mean, I don't really see much, you know, in terms of natural moves other than Knight BD7 or Bishop G4. I don't think Bishop G4 is really that great for Black, because I think White would be pretty happy to trade the light square bishops. So Knight BD7 makes sense. Okay, he does this. Well, my plan was to play Knight D2 and attempt to trade. So let's stick with that. Now he's either going to have to take or run away. Okay, he did take. Let's take with the queen. And yeah, I think the computer will like this position for White, but you know, it's not like there's an obvious plan to win the game. Okay, so now the two moves that seem most appealing are Knight C4 and F4. F4 just aims to keep this knight out. If the knight can get here, maybe he's able to get a knight on the G4 square. I don't know if I really care about that, because H3 is always going to shoo him away. So F4 may not be immediately necessary. This move makes so much sense. I mean, we're improving the knight, we're opening up the bishop to do something, and we're making this even less palatable if it is something that he's thinking about doing. So I think, yeah, let's just get Knight C4 in. Another interesting point is that now lets the queen cover B2, in case that's ever coming under fire from a lot of pieces. The knight also covers B2. So where's his queen going? B4 seems possible, but maybe risky. Like if queen B4, bishop D2 could be lining up some stuff. Like queen C7 is maybe a little passive, but seems like a safe square for the queen. Indirectly defending E5, you know, if Black decides he's okay with this damage structure. Probably just bishop E3 next for me. Seems like a useful move. Rook B1 is also a move that is probably going to be useful in a lot of circumstances. Oops, I'm bad at drawing arrows. Okay, queen C7, very safe. I think I will invite Black to do this if he is feeling up for it. Maybe he'll move this knight and try to be in a position to recapture with the bishop. That would make sense. Maybe if he moves the knight, then I play f4 and just like really shut the door on him. So okay, let's just play bishop e3, right? That seems like the best square for the bishop. And the rooks are connected and seems good, right? Is there any reason I would play bishop d2? I mean, I could dream about getting this bishop to a5 if I play bishop d2. That would require, you know, this knight doing some reroute. It's maybe not totally ridiculous. I mean, if I'm going bishop e3, it seems like the main idea would be to play queen d2 and try to trade. I don't know. I'm sort of not opposed to this bishop d2 knight reroute. Try to get the bishop to a5. Am I really like killing it there though? Also interferes with the defense on b2. I think I'm just gonna stick with e3. I feel like it can't be too bad. I think maybe knight h5 is what Black will try to do. Try to gain some more control over e5. I was thinking f4. I mean, I do have to think about, is this something I mind? It's probably not something that I mind. Because he'll have some weak dark squares near the king, and maybe I can do stuff with my dark square bishop. That would be nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think maybe I just play rook a b1. Keep the f rook flexible, like if f4, f5 happens, maybe I like my rook on the f file. I mean, I don't even have to defend this right away, I don't think. I mean, I guess I have to think about, you know, or any kind of funny tactics like this working out. But with my knight here, it doesn't seem like it. So I could just ignore him. I could play f4. If I play f4, I think I'm basically saying I want to play e5. It's pretty committal, but I don't really see the downside of it. I think I'm going to go for it. It feels like the right way to try to play. You know, he's moving. He's got a lot of force over on the queen side. I mean, I don't think this king is unsafe. But, you know, I'm sort of built up over here, and he's sort of built up over here. I think I should play on my side of the board, right? Hopefully. Two minutes down on the clock. Not really a huge deal, but something to think about. Done okay with clock management, I guess, this game. Something I always have to think about. If I don't force myself to think about it, then I end up with no time. So is e5 already a threat is maybe a worthy question. For example, like e5, d takes e5, f takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop f4. He wouldn't have knight f to d7 there, which seems like it kind of holds everything down. So maybe I need to maneuver around a little more. Like move the bishop out of the queen's way. That would be a bit of a shame if I ended up playing like bishop d2 after debating which square I wanted my bishop on. Yeah, I don't think I can do e5 yet, because also if the knight moves from f6, like in that line I was mentioning, which would be e5 takes bishop f4. When this knight comes to d7, the bishop's also helping out here. So I wonder if f5 is maybe a different plan that could work out. I don't know. It feels a little weird. Feels like it's leaving a big hole on e5. Which he could, make use of relatively easily with his knight and his bishop. Well, this move has gained me time on the clock, so that's good. Maybe I play like rook a e1, bishop f2, and try to force e5 in that way. I could even play bishop g3 if required. Ooh. Okay, well, he is offering to just let me camp out on b5 with like a4, knight b5. That would allow his rook to camp out on b4. This feels like the kind of move that I shouldn't react to. Although, I mean, I was wanting to move my bishop anyway, so if I play a4, and he plays rook b4, bishop d2, and then when I get my knight to b5, my knight's really strong, and also his rook is going where? His rook could get trapped pretty easily. So it might not really work for him to put his rook on b4. It's difficult for him to maneuver a knight to keep me out of b4. I think I am gonna do that. Since he gave me that square, I think it would be rude of me to refuse him. Okay, now wait a minute. One more thing I need to think about. No, okay, that doesn't work. I was worried for a second about, like, rook b2, queen b2, and then this, but I can just take with the knight, so... should be fine. I think this is a really, really nice development for me, because, I think it's going to be hard for him to get play on the queen side now, if my knight can sort of block everything up. And I think all of my options in the center and on the king side remain open. And a lot of my plans, you know, were sort of going all out over here and ignoring stuff that could happen over here. So if nothing happens on the queen side and I can still go all out, then, you know, that seems like hopefully a 2-result game. Now I am going to have to defend this pawn before moving the knight, but bishop d2 works beautifully with that plan. And perhaps I should have played bishop d2 instead of bishop e3 earlier, but it's hard to know these things. Okay, well now he's allowed me to do this. I mean, I guess I was already sort of allowed to. We could ask him where that queen's going. That's also a defender that just got dragged away from e5. And if I attack the queen, that's another defender going away from e5. It is, I mean, I have to be careful. Like, this pawn will be loose, but... But, okay, let's do this. I mean, I don't really see a square that looks too good for the queen. Even getting on this diagonal, like, there's nowhere to come in. Okay, I mean, I guess you could come in here. I think I like my chances in an endgame, though. I've got a lot of space. My pieces seem a little better. I'm ahead on the clock. Maybe, like, he's gonna move the queen. I might just initiate this capture and play queen c4. Because he is gonna be threatening this. And there's also ideas on this diagonal. Nah, maybe just bishop d2. Yeah, actually, bishop d2, bishop c3 might be the maneuver. That helps me play e5. That helps offset this bishop. That might be the way to go. Okay. I wonder if he would try... he can't really do that with all my knights, but he's probably going to trade a knight off. But okay, let's do this. Defend the pawn. Get ready to play bishop c3. This capture is fine because queen's still defending the pawn. If he plays knight h5, I might play g4 though. Or like if he trades and then plays knight h5, I probably do play g4. Getting a little dicey there maybe, but I like when I have all the space and they can't do anything. Those are fun games to play. That's what I'm after. It feels like it should be really good for white. Like, white has all the space. Black's pieces are kind of a little cramped. The rook on a8 isn't really doing anything. The queen's back on d8, not doing much. It feels like black needs to play e6 and try to get some play that way. So if he's going to do that, that would be knight c4, queen c4, and then e6. But then my queen's defending it, so I could just take twice on e6. So I think white's doing pretty well. He's also having a big think here, which is a great sign. I mean, we can pre-move this. So save a little more time, perhaps. Hopefully. Okay. That's interesting. Obviously, I didn't see that tactic. Does it actually work, though? I think I should take... He'll take here. Then maybe bishop c3? And then I'm threatening, like, knight here, which looks pretty strong. I mean, the other way to play would be to take this immediately. Then he takes here, and I don't know what's happening. I guess I'm losing a knight. Okay, so let's take this. I think just bishop c3. That adds actually 2 more defenders to b2. This is weak. There's discoveries lined up. Makes it tough for him to move his knight. So yeah, now the threat at least is knight d6. There could be better, but and e5 is still in the air too. It probably doesn't. I mean, that's weakening up d5. I'm sort of expecting this, but then that would hang a5. So what else could he do? I mean, if the rook goes back, that's also hanging a5. So he's sort of permanently lined up here. If the queen moves, that also hangs a5, so... like, everything hangs a5. I mean, he's up a pawn right now. Okay. Yeah, but if I go here, and then I can get this, like, that's good. I am sort of pinning my knight, or, yeah, to the rook, but... but he's gonna have stuff hit. So, should be fine. And I'm the one with the time. He has no time. That's the most encouraging of all. I think just defend the rook, then the knight can come in here. I gotta watch for some checks, though. Maybe I just go back. Maybe that's the easiest. Do I care about those checks? Maybe not. Yeah, maybe I just don't care about the checks. Because then this pawn's weak. Okay, let's go queen c2. Don't care about your checks. I think the king's safe on h1. Okay, surely we got something. This is hitting the rook and this. He's introduced some tension here. But the bishop's defending the knight. I think this is fine. Still a little tender here. Letting me take it. Oh, he also just opened this up. I don't know that that actually amounts to anything, though. Okay, it's hard to not take this pawn. Just go back. Now now this is perhaps a bigger deal. Maybe? Get that rook involved? Hmm. How could there not be a mate? Let's get rid of that guy. And let's get over towards that king. We got this guy, too. That's a good guy to have. With subtle threats. Getting a little scary, isn't it? Yeah, I think I blew it. But the game's not over. Yeah, I got tough there in the time scramble. Could still be a draw. Honestly, any result is possible. Like, anything could happen. A check here. Pick up that guy. Anything could happen. We definitely need to avoid queen trades, though. Pawn trade should be good. I think this should be a draw. Usually in these queen endings, the kings are out in the open and there's like a perpetual or at some point. But with both players having no time, it's anybody's guess. Just gonna try to keep finding checks. Don't want to let him, like, if he goes here, we don't want to check. Oh, or there, for example. That would be losing. I don't care if he perps me, that's fine. Okay, not sure where to go. We'll go here. I think we've still got a lot of game left. Because he's going to try to grind this. Okay. No checks. This is hanging. Yeah. Oh, can't go there. I should have gone here. That pins the pawn and puts pressure on that. Okay, again, I don't care about any perp. It's going to be hard, I think, for him to avoid perp now. This queen is not coming back to defend, it seems. Yeah, now I'm hitting this too, so. I can take it. I think that I can. I'm just trying to figure out, are there any endgames that I win? But I don't think that there are. Like, any king and pawn endgames. This thing's just too strong, and his king's too good. I think I gotta just accept the draw. Which I would have been begging for not long ago. Man, he came close to mating himself. But I don't think I can do anything other than draw it. Let's just take the draw. Okay, I don't think there was anything better there at the end, but the computer will reveal all. I never had a win in the endgame, it says. I was winning earlier, which isn't a shock at all. Okay, but the game was a little rockier than I imagined, so let's quickly spin through it. So yeah, computer doesn't like the Benoni, but I mean that doesn't really matter. You know, none of us are grandmasters. At least I don't think any of you guys are. Maybe. Yeah, everything seemed pretty good for a while. I felt like I played the opening really well. That's how it felt. Now it says here, my move bishop e3 is not so good. Because he should challenge this knight. What is it? What did it want me to do instead? Bishop g5. Bishop g5 is not a move that occurred to me at all. Nor do I really understand it. Like, that, to me, suggests that we're trying to trade our bishop for a knight. Well, I mean, I guess maybe the point is that the knight sort of pins, like there's a weak pawn here. And we can argue if he plays h6 to kick us away, like, he's kind of weakening his king a little bit if he does that. But if he's not kicking us away, then this knight is sort of pins, you know. So I'm just going to follow some of the top. Yeah, I mean, okay. So a lot of the masters are playing knight b6. But okay, I think that's probably the point, but it's hard to find. Okay, so anyway, it says knight b6 actually gives black an advantage now. Again, not real sure why. This move felt strange to me. The computer doesn't mind it. Let's bring in the computer now, actually. F4 is okay. It preferred to play a little more slowly. Rook AC1. B3 I was always very leery of. Because if I play B3, there's tactics. But I guess that's two pieces for a rook, and the dark squares are weak. Okay. Maybe I need to remember this bishop g5 idea. Okay, yeah, and I suspected that a5 wasn't so good. a4 is a good response. And yeah, this phase of the game. Okay, so it doesn't like this. Oh, because I just missed this knight takes a4 tactic. Totally missed that. And then he briefly had an advantage. It does want to just do this right away. It was kind of messy. Like, I thought he took here, and then I didn't know what was happening. Do I have, like, e5 there? Is that the idea? I just go back. Okay. Now I can take this. Okay, I guess that's true. That makes sense. It doesn't like this. It did make things a little awkward. Like, I had to make sure to not be pinned, and his pieces got kind of active. It says that was a blunder. He should have taken... I did kind of think he would take here, and then I have to take with the pawn, since the queen's defending... Well, okay, or I could throw this in. I guess that makes even more sense. But it likes black there. And then this was a blunder, yeah, because he let me take that. But then here, let's learn from my mistakes. Not this one, not this one, this one. I had a better move than that. Well, I mean, there's queen check, but that doesn't seem to do anything. There's knight c8, but I thought he would just, like, move. Like knight c8, queen c7. Maybe then queen a8 is good. I could sort of believe that. It says throw this in. Queen c6. Wow. That is a tough spot. That's really tough. Oh, that's so cool. Because the point is that we're threatening to trade queens and take on d6, right? But there's nowhere the queen can go that defends both of these pieces, and he can't take because then this is a fork. That's so cool. I'm never finding that. Never, ever, ever am I finding that. I did see knight c8. I just, like, it seemed like my knight was going to get trapped. That's really cool. Okay. I'm not good enough to find that. That's fine. Okay. I was wondering, like, should I play c4 and just stop this whole idea? But I thought, I don't know, it never seemed like the check was that big of a deal. I was very surprised when he did this and let me get f6 check. And then, yeah, around here, it felt like I had to be winning. It doesn't even want to recap. Okay, well, that's a check, so that's fine. And then I kind of just got into time trouble and messed some... Okay, so maybe I tried a little too hard. Like, this position's still complicated. Like, white should be winning, but, like, black's queen is really good, so he's gonna have counterplay, and it's gonna take some precision to not let that counterplay be too much. And precision is tough when you don't have much time. I even did find a lot of pretty good ideas. And then, wait. Here, this is where it all went awry. I really wanted some, like, rook f5 thing to work. It's so tough here. I feel like I need to threaten some check. So maybe it's like queen e7. Yeah, maybe just like queen e7 or queen e8 and just threaten the e5 pawn. I guess that's probably all I need to do. Nope, I'm wrong. What about here? Still wrong. Because he's gonna go after this. Maybe I just push right away? Nope. Okay, I don't know. I can't figure it out. Ah, that's not what I meant to click. Okay, let's just get out of this. I'm doing the learn from your mistakes feature. It says just take this. I thought that was scary. Is that the only winning? Taking this and rook g1 are the only moves. Okay, I mean, I guess taking... Like, I'm going to have to play rook g1. So taking this defends this so that when rook g1 happens, I've got two passed pawns. Okay, I can believe that. I was looking for a more spectacular finish, but yeah, I mean, this should be too good. Now only queen e7 wins. I mean, it's crazy how difficult these endgames are with heavy pieces. Okay, so none of that happened. Now it's equal. Then that move loses. I did expect him to play rook takes g1. Oh, I should play 8. Yeah, h3 is a more permanent solution, for sure. That loses again. Now he did this. Yeah. And this phase was just losing. I'm down. I mean, it's not just that I'm down a pawn, it's that this pass pawn is very healthy because it's going to be able to be protected by this pawn. And this pawn's pretty weak, so... But it's not easy for black, like, at all. So I have to give myself some credit for defending this. I mean, my defensive strategy was basically just check him a lot. But sometimes that's all you can do. And eventually I did get to a position where he couldn't really make any progress. After this move, yeah, there's no way. It's just reading zeros. It doesn't even like taking the pawn. Yeah, I guess I could just keep checking. But I wanted to have some winning chances, you know? So I had to take the pawn. Yeah, and it doesn't like that, but it still is just all zeros, and I had to accept the draw. So, okay, well, that was an interesting game. That's the second straight draw I've had on this channel, which hopefully isn't too much of a disappointment to the fans. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you on the next one. Bye.